Okay, today we'll be going over problem 1b. This one we're going to be writing the static method day of the week. It returns an integer value representing the day of the week for a given date. And we're being passed in these three parameters, one for the month, the day, and the year. And we're given these two helper methods. First day of the year, which returns an integer value ranging from 0 to 6. That represents the day of the week. So 0 is a Sunday, and then 6 is a Saturday, and everything in between is those days. And then we also have day of the year that you pass in a month, a day, and a year. It'll tell you what the nth day of that year given those parameters is. So it gives you some examples here. Yeah, so in this problem, we're actually not going to be using the solution we wrote in part A, which was number of leap years. So we're only going to be using these two methods, these two helper methods here, first day of the year and day of the year. Let's go ahead and jump into some of the pseudocode to sort of figure out where we need to go from here. The first thing we want to do is we want to grab the value representing the day of the week for the first day of the year. Remember that this is our starting point. So based off of this value, we can then use the other helper method to determine the day of the week given any day. So grab the value representing the day of the week for the first day of the year, okay? Next, what we need to do is we need to figure out that offset. We need to figure out how many days have passed since this day that we're being passed in, the month, the day, and the year. So grab the value representing how many days have passed since the given date. Then we want to do a little bit of math. I'm going to be intentionally a little bit vague in the pseudocode here because I think it makes more sense if you actually look at the code. But do some math to get the day of year based on above values. And then since this method returns an int where we're returning something between 0 and 6, we're going to want to return the day of the week for the given day. That's enough on the pseudocode. Let's go ahead and start implementing it. So grabbing the value representing the day of the week for the first day of the year. Luckily enough, we have that helper method that we can use to get the day of the week for the first day of the year, and it returns an int. So we're going to go ahead and store it in an int. Int first day equals first day of year. This method asks for a year, and this should be the same year that we're being passed into the day of the week method. So we can do something like that. Next line of code, we want to grab the value representing how many days have passed since the given date. This is our offset, and we're calculating this using our helper method day of the year. Also returns an int. We can go ahead and store it in that. So int day year equals day of year for, we're just passing in the exact same parameters that we were passed in because we want to know how many days have passed. Okay, so now the math. So this is kind of the tricky part of the problem. I think it helps if we kind of take a step back and consider what the values we can be given for each of these two variables that we've created. So first day of the year is going to give us a number between 0 and 6. Okay, so 0 and 6, where that represents the day of the year. Day year is going to give us a number between 1 and 356 or 357, depending on if it's a leap year. But luckily, we don't really need to worry about these upper bounds. It should be taken care of with the math that we're going to be doing later on. As I mentioned before, this day year is our offset. So we need to know how many days have passed since the first day. And in order to get the day of the week for that day, we're going to want to add these two numbers. Let's go ahead and call it int offset equals first day plus day year. If we used one of the examples from the problem here, we know that the first day of the year for 2019 is a Tuesday. Tuesday is 2, so 2 Tuesday plus day of the year. Let's say, for example, we're using January 5th, which is the 5th day of the year. So now we have the offset of 5 days from the Tuesday. Only one problem here. Our offset doesn't incorporate the fact that these two numbers are sort of off by 1. We need to subtract 1 because day of the year is indexed based on 1, but first day of the year is indexed based on 0. So we're also going to want to subtract 1 from our offset. So now our offset is going to be 6. And that is actually the right answer because January 5th fell on a Saturday, which was 6. So you might be tempted to just be like, okay, well, I found the offset and now it's okay for me to move on with the rest of the test. However, if you look at the very next day, January 6th, which is the 6th day of the week, first day of the year is going to stay the same for 2019, it's still going to be a Tuesday. 2 plus 6 minus 1 gives us 7, but wait, day of the week was supposed to return something from 0 to 6. 7 isn't a valid number here, and you would be absolutely correct if you notice this. So what you actually want to do is you want to also mod this number. Int day week equals offset mod 7. What does modding it by 7 mean? When you mod something, what you're getting is the remainder. So we know that this number here can be massive. It can be really, really big, and we need it to fit within a frame between 0 and 6. So if we had this example, but now we're modding it, so we end up having 7 inside these parentheses, mod 7 should now equal 0, which, great for us, fits within that range of 0 to 6. And now we want to return day of the week instead. Move this up here. This is also just like another case for trying out more than one input. In this problem, it actually gives you 2 different examples to put in, both January 5th and January 10th, so you might be tempted to just write off your code as look and sound, but I strongly urge you to keep testing it. So if, for example, we wanted to test it with January 10th as the day that's being passed into day of the week, we would say that it's the 10th day of the year, January 10th. So the first day of the year, still Tuesday. 2 plus 10 minus 1, that's 11. And 11 mod 7 would be 4. That is absolutely correct. That is what it should return because it fell on a Thursday. This solution makes sure to account for the fact that our day of the year can be very big to make sure it fits within that 0 to 6 range. If we get rid of the pseudocode, here is what our solution ends up looking like, where we're grabbing the first day of the year, we're grabbing the day of the week for the first day of the year, we're grabbing what day of the year was given to us, we're doing some math to get it in the right place, we're modding it by 7 to make sure it fits in our range, and then we're returning that because our method returns an int. Hopefully that helps you out with this problem. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I'll get back to you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.